G'day guys, Duckville here. I am going to be casting game 2 of our good little friend who's demonstrating the early ghost strategy, Saplingg, right here up on top position on Metalopolis, the 12 o'clock position I suppose you'd say. We saw in game 1 he executed the strategy pretty well. The opponent didn't react probably in the best way. Hopefully we are going to see a little bit of a better reaction here from the new opponent Fallen, who will be in the 8 o'clock position here on Metalopolis. So one thing to note is that as we were saying before, we're just going to be doing a little a low sort of level analysis of this particular build, which Saplingg is going to use, obviously with the event of siege tanks getting nerfed against bio and light units. These sorts of different strategies are probably going to come out of the woodwork a little bit. Now, as said in video 1 of Saplingg, this strategy it's not a guaranteed win. It's not a very sort of solid sort of build not in terms of the build, more so in terms of the strategy. There are some pretty easy little direct counters that aren't necessarily hard to get to for your opponent, but it is still really good if you can actually catch your opponent off guard. Now, on Metalopolis here, as we can see, they are it's a version of crossbots, but I suppose you could say it's actually a lot quicker than normal crossbots, because essentially all you got to do is just run straight over here. And it looks as if we're going to have Fallen opening with a pretty standard sort of thing, Rax Refinery starting off there as per normal. Interestingly, Fallen has accidentally gotten his SCV caught up with Sapling's scouting SCV, so that's going to be running around for no reason at all. Now, as we can see, we're getting a lot of gas here for Saplingg. You obviously got the, I'm pretty sure this build is sort of that refinery before Rax build, and you have a slight delay on your 13th SCV. I'm pretty sure that's generally the case. As you can see, you need to get obviously a lot of gas so you can crank out the Ghost Academy and then the actual Ghost itself. Now, as we all know, Ghosts cost 150 gas, so it is certainly a lot of gas to use. Now, at the start, of course, as you can see here, getting one Marine out is really good if you can actually stop the scouting of your opponent so that they cannot see that the Ghost is coming. Nice job there by Saplingg getting rid of that scouting SCV. Now, down here at Fallen's base, he's got his second refinery pretty quickly. Normally you'd get it around about now, but he's actually gotten it pretty quickly, and he's going to be getting a factory as well. Saplingg is grabbing the Ghost Academy as a standard part of this build, getting his second refinery up as well, and he is also going to get another Rax. So the timing here is going to be a little bit different from Saplingg. He's going to be grabbing in game 1, if you guys watched game 1, or if you want to go back and watch game 1, actually executed the attack. The initial part of the attack actually started right about now, so there is just a small difference in terms of the actual timings of the attack. Now, what you need to do with this build is actually get it in there quick enough, around about the sort of the 5-ish minute mark, to make sure that you can actually get there before there are too many Marines, or if there's too many Marauders or anything like that, or also if your opponent is going for a fast tank. That can also be a pretty solid counter to this early build. Now, as you can see here, just a slight variation. As I said, there's one extra Marine here, which is going to just provide some extra firepower, and obviously the defense as well. Somehow I selected the mech statue when I did that, and the attack is going down. So we've got SCVs up the front, obviously, to provide a bit of a meat shield, and then you're just pretty much going to be relying on the DPS from the Marines just to provide the initial damage on the units, and then you've got the Ghost to hit at his 20 damage per shot. So that'll actually pretty much, in terms of once your Marines are there, it'll two-shot your Marines on the opponent's side. So doing a nice job here, pulling some SCVs to counter the attack, but as you can see, the Ghost and the Marines are just putting out so much damage, given that the Marines have got their 6 damage, and then the Ghost has its 20 damage. So the units here are just going to absolutely get smashed apart, as we saw in Game 1. Saplingg doing a great job taking out a lot of the SCVs, using snipe, making a really good effect of the snipe skill. Marauder comes out and actually does stop the attack, but as we can see from the income tab, we actually have 6 harvesters down in terms of Fallen's production. And interestingly, as per the previous game as well, Fallen has actually gotten a Banshee, so it is in a way a counter to this build if you grab a Banshee out and try and just put a lot of air damage down. But the thing is, you really need to keep the Banshee away from the Ghost, and any like this sort of force here with these 2 Marines and the Ghost just will absolutely tear apart the Banshee in no time. Obviously, the Banshee's 2-shot Marines, and I'm pretty sure they 3-shot Ghosts, or is it 4? Something around that. And but so you really do need to be careful with the Banshee. So we've got the second attack here coming from Saplingg. He's got an extra Marine there. He's got his Ghost up the front. You really want to be careful with your positioning. As we can see here, the Ghost does become targeted by the by this Marauder, but obviously the Marauder does go down to the DPS from the Marines there, and we have a second Ghost coming along now. So this is the really big advantage here, is essentially once you get your Ghosts across the map to the opponent's base, they will generally have around about 75 to 100 energy to use, and essentially 25 per sniper round, and you are going to take out a lot of units. So as you can see here, we've got Fallen is just absolutely coming apart at the seams here from these Ghosts, and the Ghosts are going to try and take out as much as they can here. As you can see, pretty much every single SCV is about to die. A tank does come out, but the tank does not have siege mode, and there is no wall to protect it either anymore. So the tank is going to need to be microed, and the Banshee needs to get in the fight as well. I do believe we had the Banshee coming in at the front of the base. Here it is again. It's going to come in and do some damage to the SCVs. As we can see here, look, we've got a Ghost and a Marine on this Banshee. Banshee goes down, you know, just because of that high DPS from the Ghost. So this is why I really like this build. As I said, it's not the most solid sort of basis of play. You would never want to actually base every TvT game on this particular build, just because of the fact that there can be some really early counters. But as we can see, it does so much damage if you can actually pull it off, and if your opponent has if they don't actually pull out the right kind of counters, it can be really, really powerful. So as you can see, this Banshee, we've got another Banshee here from Fallen. He actually does have Cloak, which is really good until, wait for it, we are probably going to see an EMP, I would assume, from Saplingg. Excellent work. There you go. The EMP, another reason that this build is actually a nice, solid sort of opening if you can make use of the Ghost skills. So the Banshee just automatically loses Cloak and loses a lot of energy once you get EMP'd. So really nice part of this particular build is that you can use that sort of counter there. The only trouble comes from if your opponent identifies that you are going this sort of heavy Ghost build. If they stock up on Marauders and some tanks, roll out, you're going to have a really tough time. Now, obviously with patch 1.1, with the nerf to tanks, as we can see, the tanks are only going to be doing 15 damage against light. So obviously that's in non-siege mode, and I believe, what is it, it's like 30 something in siege mode against light units. So it does, the patch has actually helped this build a lot, which is obviously why I'm bringing it up, because this can be a really nice build when you get it rolling. Now, as we can see, Saplingg has expanded here. He has taken the natural, and he is going to probably get that saturated in a moment. And we've got a little push coming out here from Fallen. He's going to try and actually get back some of the ground that he lost. He's got siege mode on his tanks, I believe. He's going to siege up here and actually start shelling away at the command center if he can see it, which he can't just yet.